Welcome to Petronet LNG Limited, Kochi Terminal. Petronet LNG Limited, Kochi Terminal is located at Puduvaipin Island in Kochi, an accredited area west of Vaipin Peninsula and north of the entrance channel to Cochin Port. Petronet LNG is at the forefront of India's all-out national drive to ensure the country's energy security in the years to come. Petronet LNG Limited imports liquefied natural gas or LNG via ship, stores in two storage tanks of capacity 155,000 metric cube each, regasifies the stored LNG to natural gas and delivers the natural gas to consumers at approximately 90 bar gauge pressure. Petronet is dedicated to priorities health, safety and environment as a core value in all of its operations. We believe that every incident is preventable and your safety in this site is our top priority. Methane is the major component in natural gas and usually over 85 to 90% by volume, along with other hydrocarbons like ethane, propane and butane. Natural gas is cooled to minus 160 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, natural gas compresses in volume by 600 times to become clear, colorless, odorless, non-corrosive and non-toxic liquid called LNG or liquefied natural gas. LNG can be transported with ease across the continents and later regasified to make an ideal and clean fuel. Major equipment components of our terminal are a jetty with unloading arms, transfer pipes, storage tanks, pumps, recondenser, air heater, vaporizers, compressors, truck loading facility, and metering station. Hazards in the terminal. The potential hazards of LNG are the result of its basic properties like its cryogenic nature and flammability characteristics. Cold burn. LNG will freeze any material it contacts, and if your skin is exposed to cold LNG liquid or vapor, you will be seriously burned by its extreme cold. This phenomenon is known as cold burn. In such situation, remove the victim from exposure and get immediate medical attention. Fire and explosion hazard. Fire is one of the major hazards inside the terminal. LNG, once released, immediately begins to evaporate and changes to vapor phase. Initially, the vapor cloud is heavier than air and more likely to accumulate in low areas with a visible white cloud until the vapors get warm. This visible white cloud is an easy way of identifying the LNG leak. Once its temperature reaches minus 110 degrees Celsius, it becomes lighter than air and moves upward as it mixes with air. An ignition of this vapor-air mixture, which is in right proportion, can cause fire. A pool fire, flash fire, jet fire, or a vapor cloud explosion inside a confined area. Natural gas will not ignite if its concentration in air is below 5% or above 15%. Burning of LNG vapors produces very high levels of radiant heat compared to other flammable liquids. Rapid phase transition or RPT. When LNG spills on water in huge quantities, such as sea surface, it will boil very rapidly, and this phenomenon is known as rapid phase transition or RPT. RPT is characterized by physical explosion with overpressure that can cause damage to equipment, property, or may injure people in the vicinity. Never use water as an extinguishing medium for an LNG fire. Asphyxiation. In an unventilated area, LNG, NG, or nitrogen could displace oxygen and cause asphyxiation. Risk of electrocution. Risk of electrocution is a prominent danger in our terminal. There are areas inside the terminal with high voltage up to 11 kV. Don't forget that short circuit can be dangerous and can cause fire. You must take isolation permit and ensure that equipment to be worked on is completely isolated before work begins. You must check all electrical equipment before every use and ensure that it is safe in all aspects. Man overboard. At jetty head and trestle, man overboard or free fall into sea could be another serious hazard. A work vest or life jacket must be worn while working at locations where risk of fall into sea exists. Lifebuoy rings are provided at jetty with connected rope for rescue purpose. Fall from height. There are a number of multiple work levels on site and there exists potential for falling objects and fall from height. Working at height is risky. If you are required to be at a height to do your job, get the proper working platform to do it, and of course, as you can see, wear the necessary protective gear like full body safety harness. Remember that all scaffolding must be inspected and tagged before use by a competent person. Risk management. In PLL, risk assessment is a fundamental component of health and safety management. We identify, assess and mitigate risks to prevent incidents and injuries. It helps in identifying potential hazards, implementing preventive measures, and creating a safer work environment. Safety reporting. An effective safety reporting system is crucial for maintaining a safe work environment. Don't hesitate to report safety concerns, hazards, unsafe acts, unsafe conditions, incidents, and near misses. You can report safety concerns using printed forms or through the HSE online portal. Your reports help us to improve the performance of the HSE management system. General Site Safety Rules. Before you enter inside the terminal, you must familiarize with the HSE policy, rules and procedures that are followed in our terminal. Entering inside the terminal. You must obtain a gate pass from the security main gate and always display your gate pass while you are inside the terminal. As a process plant, there are certain items prohibited inside the terminal for safety reasons, like drugs, alcohol, tobacco, mobile phones, camera, cigarettes, battery, matchbox, or any other portable electronic items. Prohibited item must be left with security gate and can be collected when you leave. Smoking is strictly prohibited inside the terminal. During your visit, you will be always accompanied by a PLL employee to ensure your safety. Remember, be always alert and follow the instructions given by the PLL employee. You will see many safety signs displayed inside the terminal. Please take a moment to understand what they say. Vehicle entry. Movement of vehicles are restricted inside the terminal. Vehicles are permitted up to non-operations area only. For entry into operations area, a vehicle entry permit shall be taken. Vehicle entry into the terminal is only allowed after ensuring that an approved spark arrestor is fitted to the vehicle exhaust. This prevents the occurrence of sparks, which can be a source of ignition. Only diesel engine vehicles are allowed inside the terminal. Please drive with care, observing all traffic signs and speed limit of 20 km an hour. Use of mobile phone while driving a vehicle is strictly prohibited. Drivers and each passenger must wear seat belt and obey all road signs inside the terminal. Parking is only permitted in the designated parking area. Park vehicles in such a location that it doesn't create any obstruction to firefighting equipment or emergency vehicles. Permit to work system. Permit to work system is implemented at Petronet for ensuring the safe execution of all work activities. Work permits required to work on the site are a hot work permit, which is required for all work that generates flame, spark or hot spot, cold work permit, working at height permit, jobs having potential to generate spark permit, camera usage permit, excavation permit, confined space entry permit, and electrical isolation and energization permit. Work permit will be issued after conducting a risk assessment by a team involving shift-in-charge operations, HSE officer, and permit receiver. The shift-in-charge operations will issue the work permit, and the permit is valid for a single day only. Atmosphere gas testing for flammable gases and oxygen level shall be carried out prior to starting the hot work and confined space entry. Make sure that each permit is signed, valid and renewed for working in each shift of the day. If you are the supervisor for the job, you must ensure that everyone is briefed on the hazards and risks before they commence work. Return your work permit to the control room at the end of the day for closing. Personal protective equipment or PPE. Always wear your safety helmet, safety shoes and safety goggles inside the terminal. Depending on the nature of the job, use work-specific PPEs like hand gloves, face shield, protective clothing, respiratory protection, ear protection, etc. When you are working near a cryogenic equipment or pipeline, use cryogenic protective clothing, cryogenic hand gloves and face protection shield. While you are handling chemicals, use chemical-resistant clothing, hand gloves and chemical splash-proof goggles to prevent exposure to chemical splashing. Safety showers are placed at various locations inside the terminal for washing your eyes and body in case of a chemical exposure. Ear protection must be worn in designated high-noise area inside the terminal. Use full-body safety harness when working at height and life jacket or working vest when you are working nearby waterfront. Remember, PPE is your last line hazard control, so use it and maintain it well. Occupational Health Center or OHC. A well-equipped occupational health center or OHC is functioning round the clock with a highly experienced doctor supporting paramedic staff and ambulance service. First aid boxes are placed at various locations inside the terminal for providing immediate first aid treatment. Environment management. Care for environment is our collective responsibility. PLL is committed to protect the environment through various environment management programs like Green Belt Development, environment monitoring programs, pollution prevention programs, renewable energy initiatives, systematic waste management, etc. Please do not litter. There are waste bins provided on-site for the disposal of solid wastes. Always make sure you put the waste in the right bin at all times. Firefighting facilities. A fire department is functioning round the clock with well-trained fire crew to meet any emergencies which may happen inside the terminal. The firefighting system installed in the terminal are fire hydrant, fire monitor, fire extinguishers, mobile foam units, deluge valve, water spray, water curtain, jetty tower monitors, and clean agent systems. LNG terminal has extensive hazard detection and control systems in place like gas detectors, flame detectors, leak detectors, emergency shutdown system, etc. Emergency reporting. If you witness any incident like LNG or NG leakage or fire, stop working, stay away from the hazard and inform MCR or fire department. Please clearly communicate your name, incident location, what happened and what assistance is required. It is important that your information must be clear, specific and brief. You can communicate the incident by public address system, by telephone or by breaking the MCP or manual call point in case of a fire. There are 2 telephone numbers you must remember on the site: 200, the emergency contact number of main control room, and 100, the emergency contact number of fire control room. Emergency response actions. Wailing type siren of 2-minute duration will be sounded for a level 1 or level 2 emergency or an on-site emergency. The same siren will be repeated thrice with 1-minute gap in between for a level 3 emergency or an off-site emergency. If you hear an emergency siren, leave the area by the quickest and safest route and move in the crosswind direction to the nearest designated assembly point. Wind socks are installed inside the terminal for knowing the wind direction. Do not run in panic. Always do brisk walking to reach the assembly point. At the assembly point, security supervisor will do the head count to ensure that everyone is accounted for and is safe. Follow the instructions given by the security supervisor at the assembly point. Assembly points inside the terminal are near reception building, in front of Petronet building, beside main control room and at the Maritime Guard House or MGH. Emergency Control Center or ECC will be established during a site emergency. Terminal head will take charge as Chief Incident Controller or CIC and will coordinate all emergency response actions from ECC. Emergency response activities at site shall be coordinated by the Site Incident Controller or SIC. After receiving emergency communication, PLL fire team will approach the incident site from upwind direction in the shortest possible time. The victim will be rescued by the rescue team members and firefighting will commence according to the instructions given by the Site Incident Controller. If evacuation of building is required, it should be done as per the building evacuation plan. Straight siren of 2-minute duration will be sounded for declaring all clear after controlling the emergency. You can return and continue your work after hearing all clear siren. All the work permits issued for the day shall be renewed after all clear siren. Remember, emergency siren is sounded for testing on every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Awards and recognitions. Petronet LNG Limited, Kochi Terminal, has received awards and recognitions from institutions like Factories and Boilers Department, National Safety Council, Pollution Control Board, etc. for excellence in health, safety and environmental practices. Petronet LNG Limited has also been recognized and awarded with the prestigious Sword of Honor by the British Safety Council. Safety is everyone's responsibility. Only by following safety rules and procedures can we ensure a safe working environment for ourselves and for our colleagues. Once again, a warm welcome to Petronet LNG Limited, Kochi Terminal.